first up, this isn't a sponsored video by any means, but I thought I'd make it because I was a bit concerned that some of you may be shooting without some sort of insurance. Now, if you're applying for a shotgun certificate, so you can get yourself one of these, then you need to join BASC, because if you don't, and there's a problem, what are you going to do? Do you have £10,000 to shell out on going to court? And that's if you're lucky. So, what are you going to do? I'm seriously asking. There's nothing you can do. You know, they've got you over a barrel. You have to do whatever they say. And as we all know, different police jurisdictions make up the rules as they go along in this country. You know, they're very politicised, and they'll have this sort of chief firearms officer, and he just decides what they want to do. Luckily, we have this little thing called the law, and we also have the Home Office guidance, which is pretty explicit. But of course, he'll fob you off and say, "Oh, I'm interpreting the rules." This is why you need BASC. BASC will have your back. You know, if they get treated in a poor way, you can say to the firearms department, right, okay, send me a letter stipulating your reasons for refusal, and you know, if you are choosing to refuse me based, you know, well, you can send a letter back to them, but if you are refusing me on this basis, then, you know, I'll see you in court. They won't want to write a letter like that because they know you're right. But you need guys to advise you, to help you, to tell you what the laws are, and to help you write the letter as well. Now, if you're with BASC, you've got guys who are used to dealing with the government. They're used to helping draw up the very guidelines that often the police are contravening. So they're there for you, basically. And you're talking like, what, £70 a year? And I know you know, a lot of people kind of go on about the different options from different companies. You know, you've got SACS and all these others, and there's different stories about the quality of the insurance, about whether they'll cover you or not, depending who you go with. But let's be honest here. Who do the government listen to? BASC. They don't listen to anyone else. They're not interested in what SACS have got to say. They're certainly not interested in what the NRA have got to say, not about anything. But they do listen to BASC. And sure, you know, you might say, well, yeah, but Sam, I shoot practical mini rifle. I like shooting a bit, you know, steel targets and maybe a bit of practical shotgun or something like that. Well, BASC are there for you for that as well. You're still covered. You're still insured, and they've still got your back when it comes to dealing with the government. You know, we're too small of a community to fragment like that. We need to get behind, you know, the one entity that's going to defend our rights and get as much money behind that as possible. And then we'll have a chance of trying to stop things like this stupid bit of legislation I was talking about last weekend, where gun clubs, they're having a licence increase from £80 to £1,000. Or when the firearms licence and the shotgun licences went up from, like, what was it, 40 or 50 quid to 80 quid. And we all agreed that was a fairly reasonable increase, since it hadn't increased since in like 15 years. But, you know, if the Labour Party had their way, it would have gone up to over £200. And without BASC, well, what would we have done? There'd been nobody there to sort of fight our corner. So it's important that you've got that behind you. And also, you know, going back to firearms applications, I mean, you must remember not that long ago, you know, a few months ago, and I put in for my application for my 243 for shooting deer and fox, and the firearms department refused. They said, well, no, you know, you need to have mentoring, or you need to do a DSC-1, which is very expensive, by the way, and once you've done that, we will consider you to sort of have enough experience shooting in the field, and we'll issue with a firearm. But of course, the Home Office guidance says, you know, quite rightly, that the experience is required for these calibers, but it's neither quarry nor caliber specific. So, you know, I've had a 2.2 rimfire for a couple of years, shooting rabbits in the field, therefore I should be entitled to have a 2.43 for shooting deer and fox. Now, that took a lot of faffing, but because I was a member of BASC, I actually ended up speaking to a guy at BASC who actually co-wrote the Home Office guidance with the government. So there's no getting one over on them. They know what the laws are, and he gave me he told me to write to them and say, okay, send me a letter outlining why you've refused, and which they did, and then I wrote them a letter back saying, okay, well, this isn't a legitimate reason, so you've got two choices. This is the section of the guidance that you're ignoring, and you can either issue me with the rifle I've asked for, or I will see you in court, and I am covered. I mean, the original letter they sent me before I sent that was like almost laughing at me as if, oh, well, what are you going to do? You've got you can't do anything. Or what? You're going to take us to court, are you? Well, actually, yeah, I am, because I'm a member of BASC. I can do that. So that's what you need behind you. And then you've got other examples, like I was out pigeon shooting, and I was over some stubble. It was a great day, and I've got my back to this hedge, and behind this hedge is a guy's house. Now he's sat in his garden having a few beers on a Saturday afternoon, and he obviously doesn't like the fact I'm making a noise. And instead of manning up and just coming up to me and saying, "Oh, a bit noisy, mate. How much longer are you going to be?" and I would have probably said, "Oh, an hour or so," or I might have even said, "Look, give me 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'll move somewhere else," because I'm not a reasonable person. But no, he phones the police on me, doesn't he? Now, as it turned out, this young lady came out, and it was all cool. I explained to her what I was doing and that it was perfectly safe. She'd already run the plates of my car and knew that I was covered, and she was worried that I might, because I was shooting towards the park, which was 600 yards away, that they might be dangerous. And of course I explained to her how a shotgun works and showed the cartridges, and it was all fine. But I'm not to blow my own trumpet. I'm a fairly eloquent kind of guy, and I try to keep my cool. But a lot of people wouldn't be so good in that situation and end up down the station. And then what are you going to do without insurance, without BASC telling you what your rights are and standing up for your rights? You'd be screwed, wouldn't you? And then you think of the old guy who lives in the wood, and he came and accosted me and was shaking a stick at me. I mean, it was great from my perspective because I've got a head cam on. That was good. But it could have easily have not been the case. And with somebody that's upset, and again, if I didn't keep my cool, then not everybody can keep their cool all the time. Somebody's being really unreasonable. You might snap back at them verbally. Well, what if that person turns around and accuses you of something, says that you were aggressive, or worst of all, says that you pointed your gun at them? You can imagine what's going to happen to you then. Without BASC, without cover, without lawyers who can stand your ground and say, look, this is unfair. You've got no evidence of this. This guy's like some guy living in a wood. What are you going to do? So it's really, really important from your own personal perspective, from the perspective of other people, because there's almost more minor things. What if you accidentally damage something? Even if you're just like out with your air rifle, you're shooting around some barns, and you accidentally shoot something you're not supposed to, like the window of a tractor or something, or whatever, whatever. What are you going to do without some sort of insurance and cover? What are you going to do when you go and you're looking for new permissions, and you can't go into your wallet like this and pull out, if I can find it somewhere, I should have done this, organised this beforehand, and you can't pull out your wallet and say, there's my card. You can't, can you? So they won't take you seriously if you don't have that. A lot of places, a lot of farms and things, because they'll just be like, well, you're not insured. I don't know who you are, but you show them that. You show them a BASC card, and they'll recognise that, and that will help you to get on and do your shooting. So you've got all of those factors. You've got your own personal safety in terms of just being looked after. You've got issues with potentially just the police generally just being awkward. You've got getting permissions, and then most of all, you've just got the general politics. This is a difficult sport to do in the UK. We all know how the pressure we're under and the restrictions we've got coming at any one time. We need to have something to get behind. So don't be an idiot. Join BASC.